Peace, reflections. Chief Eon of the Taino. It's happening. I have a message directly from the ancestors, from the planet, and that is that above all, the first thing we must do is remember our true God, the God of Mother Nature. We must remember ourselves before any colonized version. Before they colonized us, we were directly connected to nature. It is my mission to remind so-called Puerto Ricans and Cubans of the real title, which we are, the Taino. And even though we are all one species, so-called blacks, Latinos, and all modern descendants of that giant Anunnaki god race that all the religions are inspired by, the true parent species of these modern small beings walking with this form, these human beings made in our image. We just fell in frequency with them, so we blend in with them and they blend in with us, but they're made in our image, right? And even though it is way deeper than any title of a tribe, of the Lenape, the Iroquois, the Seminole, we can't get lost in the titles themselves. We don't directly identify on a soul level with the title, but the same way you could wear clothes and wear it with a good energy to not be lost in the material, you put your intent in stuff, right? Like, picture it like someone wearing Gucci and who's obsessed with the material, and then someone who created their own shirt that looks 10 times more drippy, super vibey energy, and they create the shirt themselves with a real creative energy. What I'm saying with that is we can use the titles, but you do not get lost within the title to the same way they have a thing where Puerto Ricans and you're fighting for a flag that never belonged to you, that looks just like the American flag but in a different version. Tell me why all their flags look the same, because they brought their flags to our lands, conquered us, raped our minds with religion, pacified us, brought all their flags, all their countries are a part of one corporation. It's all the same people. That's why all their flags look the same. You feel me? Everything they're playing out into the masses on the news, out in the mainstream, it's a program. Anything they're putting out into the collective general consciousness is not what's going on. The people who run things behind the scenes all work together. It's the 13 rich families, but it tied even deeper. You feel me? And it's the people who own who have the hand behind the hand, who own the things behind owning the things, like not even the CEO who owns Walmart, but the one who owns the CEO who owns, like, you get what I'm saying? Like, not the people who use the money, who are rich, like Jeff Bezos, for example. He's a pawn. He's a billionaire, but he's in the system. The real people who run the system are the ones who are printing the money all day long, who write the laws, who write up this whole way of living, because it's a game. So it's on that level, it's literally just a game designed to entrap the souls, because these are fallen beings. So to them, money and this system and all these laws, they write it up like nothing, and they're numb, and it has no, it doesn't really matter to them because it's not real. It's a ploy that's really just set up for all the souls who incarnate in this realm, my species, who come into these small versions of our giant bodies, because my species are of the planet. So-called blacks, Latinos of the modern day, that's what they call us now. They reclassified us under those names, but we come directly from nature. They pulled us out of nature with this divine nature being, with its consciousness of nature, the most intelligent, evolved, life-filled species of this planet. Picture Avatar times 9, the movie Avatar, not the TV show, right? And so this is why they're doing so much to pollute the planet, too, and pollute us directly, because we are literally the planet itself. It's like a direct link of us being like the walking soil, the walking planet. We breathe life out of us. But so when we incarnate into these bodies, this is just a polluted, de-evolved, shrunken state of of us. Because just 3 generations ago, for example, we were 10 feet, 15 feet tall. We used to be, then we were 20 feet tall. Then we were 30. It's like we fell. We used to be 100 and 150 feet tall. The real tree stumps are the mountains. Most of the trees you see right now are 30 millimeter bushes, are clones, human-made clone trees that were planted after they invaded the realm. Because they cut down the real nature, and the planet is right now, it's a wasteland. The little remnants of nature they didn't destroy, they all have reserved and fenced off. It's like it's some type of like dystopian grid, like lockdown, like, because think about it, it's like the real planet is nature itself. You can't even exit the system. There's fences everywhere, and a little bit of nature you can. It's like a reserve that's monitored and stalked by these government agents they call park ranger. Like, there's all types of shit that be going on. You get what I'm saying? But so, us as the souls that come into this realm, I'm the soul. So I'm literally not the body itself, and that's what makes my species gods, because blacks, Latinos literally are not the body. White people are of this, they can tap into where black people are coming from before we step into the body. White people are of this world made by one of our ancestors. Now, we were trying to tap y'all into life, but this is why y'all were so out of tune with life. This is why y'all have tore up nature. Y'all are naturally in your natural state before you try to intentfully connect to nature. Naturally, you're out of tune with nature through ego. That's what the ego really is. Not ego. Ego isn't pride. Pride is pride. Ego is pride, but pride comes from ego. True ego is the embodiment of that disconnected consciousness that's the opposite of the God state that we naturally are in on the conscious soul level. So once you fall in frequency and you disconnect to life around you, you're in the ego. And that's where these human beings were naturally created within, because they were created outside of life itself in an artificial way from someone who already fell in frequency. You feel me? But so, us as the souls that come into this realm, we have a whole energy we come to bring into here. You feel me? And that's why they do so much to block us off and all the things they set up before we even land into the realm. This is why they put out their technology. This is why they set up all this shit predating. All this shit was pre-calculated. Most of this shit is the agenda plan. The movie of life. Like all these world events and shit going on, almost all this shit is pre-calculated, and they set up all this shit around us. And really the whole matrix and the whole system is a ploy where it's really about us. Everything around you is make-believe. It's a distraction. It's just pretend. Most of these people are being used as pawns in the system that the people making the system, they really don't give a fuck about any of it, and it's all this a ploy that's made to seem like something's going on, and while really they're targeting the real souls within the matrix the whole time that are coming into the planet, that are the real beings of the planet, that come to free the planet, but they're trying to continue their artificial dominant control over the planet. So to keep their system going, they have to block out the real souls coming into the planet with all the energies to awaken everyone who's being used in the system. You feel me? And so with that being said, before they colonized us, before they came with their flags, their titles, our people on that island of Puerto Rico, even though the map isn't the way they show us and the lands aren't split up in the way we think, you feel me? Like, nothing is what we think in the way they showed us, at least, right? We need to tap into the actual truth outside of the shit they're stuffing into our brains and keeping the masses sleep with, because no one questions it. It's not a crime to question. If it's true, why are they so scared of us questioning? Because if it's true, we're going to find it by questioning. You only get scared of questioning if it's a lie. Because the more questions you ask about the truth, the more you get led to that truth. Because it's the truth. So with that being said, that whole map they showed us is a lie. You feel me? The continents don't really look like that. And so who knows where the island of Puerto Rico really is? Who knows where all those so-called islands in the Caribbean really are? Especially because there's a really powerful energy around there with that Bermuda Triangle, that whole little area. There's a powerful energy around there. But just in general, Puerto Rico and Jamaica and all those islands have always been very beautiful, tropical islands with very powerful energy. Very high vibrational energy that even after the invasion have still kept some of their high vibrational energy more than most of the lands have. That's why so many people are truly attracted to Puerto Rico. Because it kept more energy than other parts of the land. But it's been polluted and diseased and broken down just the same. And that's why they do so much to oppress those people over there in Cuba and Puerto Rico. Especially, like, Cuba. Because those islands over there are beautiful. Those people are on their own land. They can't even tap into the natural abundance and resources on their own land. The souls over there are very powerful souls. That's why they're doing so much to oppress them over there. That's why they're always hitting Jamaica and Puerto Rico and Cuba with hurricanes and shit. Man-made weather and shit. Every other year they're hitting Puerto Rico with a hurricane. Trust me, that shit's not natural. Because like I said, those are very powerful souls over there in that land. And the energy over there is still a bit higher vibrational than some of the rest of the land. Like the waters over there, the beaches, the nature over there, just the energy over there and those islands, the so-called Puerto Rico, Cuba, it's less corrupted than a lot of the other lands. Like, you feel me? They did a lot more tampering in other parts of the land compared to those islands. And the real tribe, the modern day so-called Puerto Ricans and Cubans come from are the Taino. And who even know if we called ourselves that? Because we're using their sources to find ourselves. Their English, a language my ancestors never even spoke. But you feel me? Like, we gotta find who we were before they came. It's only been about 300 years. 300 strong years. Like, sure, they came in 1492, but it's been about like only 300 strong years of their like actual dominance. So it's like right at our fingertips is everything we come from, because it's barely even buried. You feel me? And what they're burying is 100 times bigger in scale than the small history of being under their control. Like I'm saying, if we were free energetically and high vibrational in that state for eons and eons and eons, and then it's only been about a couple hundred years in their man-made time, which is so small in the span of the universe, it's like it was only a matter of time for it all to buckle and explode and the truth to just come pouring out. That's why they attacked so viciously and tried to keep their control so aggressively, because they knew they didn't have that much time, and they were like, fuck it. It's like if you're about to rob a bank and you don't got nothing and you know you're probably going to go to jail, so you go all in. That's how these people were when they came to our planet. When they came from Zeus and the Fallen, and they were sent to our planet to rape the resources, first pretend to be us, pretend to come in peace, pretend to be of us, for us. That's how they got amongst us. They're the original ones that come in peace, along with the Pleiadians. These human beings made by our fallen brother Zeus, which is the real reason they say, let us make man in our image. Because God is the name of a species, our species, that white people and all the variants were made in the image of, literally. But genetically, biologically, and internally, and on a soul level, because they don't even have a soul, on the spiritual level, we are not the same. On the conscious level, we are not the same. We just look the same. Well, actually, no, on a conscious level, we kind of are the same because we're all one collective conscious within life. But biologically, it's like if you take a horse and then you take a dog, they need completely different things. A horse don't even eat meat. You get what I'm saying? I'll say it again. It's like if you take a horse and you take a dog. The horse don't even eat meat. So we gotta find our ways before they came. Before their white man God, before their religions, before their colonized ways, before their flags, before their languages, before they disconnected us from nature, that which gave us everything in abundance, before there was ever a dollar, before there was ever money. Because again, money only existed for 300. That's the importance of what I'm saying. They only been here for about, they invaded in 1492, so it's been like 500 years. But they only really had a strong control for about 300 years in the sense of getting their system established, getting their foothold on the realm. Because the first couple hundred years they were here, they were trying to carve out a presence on the realm and adapt to surviving on the planet they were not used to. The animals would kill them. Nature would kill them. The indigenous people, us, would kill them. We were never peaceful with them. We never traded with them. We never welcomed them. And now, when they first came, we welcomed them. That's the whole idea of that. And then they betrayed us. That's why they say we taught the pilgrims how to survive. My ancestors taught them how to farm, how to live on the land, how to live. Yeah, we taught them a lot more than that. A lot more than that. Because they were made in our image. We taught them how to live. How to live in a healthy, good way. That's not heinous and out of tune with everything. Because they were the real savages. I'm not being disrespectful. I'm being truthful. I'm speaking esoteric truth. The ancestors of human beings, within their pure form, and they were covered in all fur, were the real Neanderthals, savage, because they were made in an artificial way. They lacked a soul. They came to this planet, we welcomed them in, we started teaching them everything. Not everything, but, well, that's the problem. They wanted to learn everything. Because we didn't teach them everything on a higher level. We taught them everything as far as like how to live on the planet. Like how to get in tune with life. Like we were trying to get them right. But we weren't teaching them anything on a higher conscious, spiritual, like higher sciences level. We weren't stupid. But that was the problem. They wanted to know more. They betrayed us for a thirst of knowledge and a thirst of just the natural genetics program in them to be filled with greed and all this shit we were trying to unprogram out of them. It's like they were at a war with the things they were programmed within them genetically, these human beings, by our fallen brother Zeus, who designed them to destroy his own species. That's why they came to this planet with their Bible in their hand of a god in the image of the creation of Zeus. If our species name is God, we're Anunnaki gods. Zeus then fell and then wants to enslave his own species to where he's the god of his own species. Wouldn't it be funny how his creation, this white man, this human being, then came to our planet with their religion, the Bible, to get us through force initially, because they forced it on us. We did not bend the knee for that religion. We literally, most of our ancestors died fighting against Christianity and the Crusaders, and you feel me? And all these so-called saints. So Zeus, our fallen brother, a carbonated being who, when he materializes in the flesh, would have so-called, what they call, they would call him Black Latino, but that's carbon in the skin. That comes from him being a soul. He's not the body. Just like my species are not the body. So-called Blacks, Latinos, the beings of nature, that y'all took into y'all cities and towns and got to live like y'all, so y'all corrupted us and molded us like y'all, and y'all filling us with all your y'all toxins when y'all, it's backwards, because y'all were made in our image by our fallen brother, brought to our planet. We welcomed y'all onto our planet. Then a dissension, a whole dissension energy started on the planet. A gradual dissension process started, where y'all just started, the ancestors of these human beings just started naturally within the way they were designed and the pact they made with the Pleiadians and reptilians, deceiving, conniving, making up a plan to plot against us after we welcomed them on the planet and use all the shit we were teaching them. And it was mainly these elites, the rich, the current elites of now that run the system. Where it is that 99% of the human being species was always treated like peasants by the royals over in Europe. Because that was the area we gave to the human being species to begin with, Europe. Europe. Peace to the God, Rashad Jamal. Europe. He broke down that word. Because we were saying Europe, Europe, Europe. That was the rope we gave to them and said, do not cross. We gave them that little part of the planet. That's where we were developing their civilizations, the Moors, bringing them up, trying to bring them up more and more in our image. And then we didn't teach them as much as they wanted. They started getting thirsty for way more than they were ready for. Because they didn't even understand the basics yet. Most of their ancestors were still killing the animals, eating animals, tearing up nature. We didn't even get most of their species out of that ego state. And they already wanted to start learning the mystical arts. That's why a lot of them became witches and warlocks and wizards and shit. These human beings. Some of your most powerful people in Hollywood. I'm talking like the Katy Perrys and shit, the human beings. Well, Katy Perry is a shapeshifter, but y'all get what I'm trying to say. Because even fallen goddesses and gods will be wizards and witches too if we're practicing magic on the evil side, because that's all that is. If you practice magic for good, then you're a magician. And magic is the science of magnetism. Magic. Mag. It's a science of life. Magic is way deeper than we've been told. Like there's a science behind the magic they showed us in any form that they never put us in tune with to have us think it's fantasy. There's a metaphysical science. But so, and this is exactly what I'm getting at, we need to tune into those metaphysical properties once more. The metaphysical version of us, not the physical. This physical that's been colonized with all their titles of calling us Puerto Ricans and Cubans. Even Taino, that's more of a physical title, because we're way beyond the Taino. But I use that with the intent to understand what I do it for, to call all eyes people together, to restore our heritage, our lineage, our energy. And it's a gradual process to where we will evolve beyond the Taino, but we're building up back to the Taino, and then we evolve even past the Taino. As is that we group up with other parts of the rest of our species. Because it's basically just, it's like they fracture us more and more and more. So Puerto Rican and Cuba will group together as the Taino, and eventually the Taino will group together with the rest. And you get what I'm saying? We'll all get back up to just being one whole Atlantean species of Atlantis, of Anunnaki gods. Because we only had different groups and tribes to adapt to this strategy of a war strategy, of a defense strategy, of a tactic. It's a tactic, it's a strategy. You feel me? That then we forgot why we even did it, and then they got us pulled into their system and started controlling us. And so then we you feel me? We stopped being the Taino, and then we just became Puerto Ricans colonized by the very people we were fighting. You feel me? Who then put us under a spell to have us working inside the very concrete jungle they built on our lands. All these houses, factories, stores, everything they built on our lands was built on the very land that once was all nature that we were standing on fighting for against them, not to take. Then they took the generations after they came and took it and have them in like a spell sleep zombie state, forgotten of their lineage and that they were fighting the very people that they're now working for. Like the generations after of our ancestors that were fighting, most of us forgot we were fighting the very people we're working for now, that we're selling our soul to the system for. Like they got us selling our soul to the system The very system that most of our ancestors laid their life to not let them build on the planet. Most of our ancestors died to not let them do what they did now. Force their way of life upon us. You feel me? And so basically I'm saying I'm just restoring. This is nothing new. I'm bringing us back from the dead. And we never die. I am Chief Ian of the Taino. My message is that we must remember our true God, Mother Nature. You feel me? Planet Kai. We must remember our true ways before they ever came to our land. You feel me? So word. Ashe.